Do you remember Hawaii 5-0 from 2010? The world of crime, loyalty, and unbreakable brotherhood set against a tropical paradise? Off-screen, the cast faced a very different fate. From broken marriages and dangerous illnesses to shocking, unexplained deaths, their real lives were far more dramatic than the show ever revealed. Today, we uncover who they truly were and honor the legacies they left behind. Alex O'Loughlin, as Lieutenant Commander Steve McGarrett. Alex O'Loughlin played Lieutenant Commander Steve McGarrett, the relentless Navy SEAL who led the 5-0 task force with unbreakable loyalty, in Hawaii 5-0, 2010, when he was 34 years old. He headlined all 240 episodes from 2010 to 2020. His performance defined the heart of the series and carried it through 10 intense seasons. And behind his iron-willed character was a man whose real battles were far more painful than the ones scripted. Born August 7, 1976 in Sydney, Australia, Alex entered adulthood with a haunting sense of responsibility to his craft, to his family, and to the fans who saw him as unbreakable. His marriage to Malia Jones, beginning in 2014, eventually brought him steadiness, but before that he endured broken relationships, the exhaustion of single fatherhood, and the emotional strain of juggling two continents. His early career, from Oyster Farmer, 2004, to Moonlight, 2007, and Three Rivers, 2009, won him nominations from the Australian Film Institute and the Logie Awards, yet never gave him the security he desperately needed. Every success seemed fragile, hanging on the hope that the next role wouldn't slip away. The stunts on Hawaii 5-0 nearly destroyed him. Herniated discs in his neck, nerve damage, torn shoulder muscles, and ripped bicep tendons left him reliant on heavy pain medication by 2016. When addiction followed, he entered rehab in secret, terrified that CBS would fire him and that fans would see weakness in the man who played McGarrett. By 2018, a spinal injury nearly ended his time on the show, and producers quietly prepared for a possible replacement. His darkest years were filled with depression, doubt, and the fear that the work he loved was killing him piece by piece. By 2025, at 49 years old, Alex is alive and working selectively, shifting toward directing and producing while enjoying a quieter life with Malia and their blended family in Hawaii. His estimated net worth of $25 million, earned from salaries reaching $200,000 per episode, reflects both the physical cost and the massive cultural impact of his decade as McGarrett. Today, he appears occasionally in NCIS, Hawaii, choosing a life that finally lets him breathe. Scott Caan as Detective Danny Dano Williams. Scott Caan played Danny Dano Williams, the fast-talking detective whose fierce loyalty and fractured humor balanced McGarrett's steel, in Hawaii 5-0, 2010, when he was 34 years old. And from the very beginning, his off-screen life carried storms his character could never quite hide. Scott Andrew Caan, born August 23, 1976 in Los Angeles, grew up under the shadow of his father, James Caan, a name heavy enough to bend any young actor's spine. His relationship with longtime partner Casey Bixby endured a breakup in 2017 before painfully finding its way back, a cycle that mirrored his own struggle to define himself outside his father's legend. Old injuries from skateboarding left lingering joint pain, adding another quiet battle behind the scenes. Roles in Varsity Blues, 1999, and the Ocean's 11 trilogy helped him break through, yet each success only amplified expectations he never asked for. His early adulthood spiraled into rebellion, roadie for Cypress Hill, failed rap career with the Wooligans, and long nights spent trying to escape the weight of his last name. Photography, inspired while filming Dallas 362, 2003, became his refuge. But balancing creative ambition with raising his daughter Josie during the demanding 5-0 schedule fractured him emotionally, especially as he watched his father's health decline. Even his Golden Globe nomination in 2011 felt bittersweet, a reminder of how far he'd climbed and how much it had cost. By 2025, at 49 years old, Scott continues acting in Alert, Missing Persons Unit, Season 3, while quietly directing and exhibiting new photography work. His estimated net worth of $16 million reflects decades of steady craft rather than inherited fame. Today he lives a more deliberate life, choosing family and stability over the chaos that once defined him. Dae Kim as Chin-Ho Kelly. Dae Kim played Chin-Ho Kelly, the honorable, sharp-minded detective who carried the moral weight of the team, in Hawaii Five-0, 2010, when he was 42 years old. His storylines were rich with loyalty and sacrifice, mirroring battles he faced off-screen. And through that performance, he became one of the most recognized Asian American actors of his generation. Born August 4, 1968 in Busan, South Korea, Daniel grew up in the United States wrestling not with language alone, but with belonging. His marriage to Jennifer Kim, beginning in 1996, survived the immense pressures of immigrant ambition and cultural duality, arguments over parenting, identity, and the fatigue of constantly representing more than just himself. His early career scattered across Star Trek, Enterprise, 24, ER, and Angel, roles that paid bills but rarely respected his range. Even his celebrated run in Lost demanded sacrifice. He relearned Korean to play Jin-Soo Kwon authentically and endured years of emotional strain portraying a man shaped by trauma. Hollywood's inequities struck hardest in 2017 when Daniel and Grace Park demanded salary equality with their white co-stars. CBS refused. The standoff ended with his exit, 167 episodes erased from the set overnight. The decision sent shockwaves through the industry, sparking debates reported by Variety, The Hollywood Reporter, and Time, which later named him one of the 100 most influential people of 2023. The aftermath left him isolated, questioning his place in the system he'd helped elevate, even as he poured his pain into producing The Good Doctor, a series that became a global success. By 2025, at 57 years old, Daniel remains alive and among Hollywood's most powerful Asian American voices, acting in NCIS, Hawaii, and leading high-impact projects through his 3AD production company. His estimated net worth of $10 million reflects studio deals, producer fees, and leading man salaries that finally matched his worth. Today, he works not just for roles, but for representation, fighting battles younger actors may never have to face because he already did. Dennis Chun as Sergeant Duke Lukala. Dennis Chun played Sergeant Duke Lukala, the steady, soft-spoken HPD officer who carried the weight of old Hawaii in Hawaii Five-0, 2010, when he was 58 years old. He began the role when the reboot launched in 2010. Across a decade, he became the soul of the show's local heartbeat. And behind that calm screen presence lived a man shaped by a legacy far more complicated than the public ever saw. Born March 18, 1952 in Hawaii, Dennis bore a last name loaded with expectation, one tied to Kam Fong Chun's iconic portrayal of Chin-Ho Kelly in the 1968 original series. Every script he received, every scene he filmed, invited comparison, sometimes whispered, sometimes bluntly stated by critics and fans who believed his father's shoes were too large to fill. His appearances in early works like Inferno in Paradise, 1974, and his 3 brief roles in the original Hawaii Five-0 only deepened this shadow, reminding him how easily history could swallow a man whole. His marriage carried the strain of these pressures. Filming across islands, often 6 days a week, quietly chipped away at their emotional closeness. Health never became a headline for Dennis, but exhaustion did. Castmates recalled he would sometimes retreat after long shooting days, not from age, but from the emotional toll of being the man carrying his father's torch. Even success in Magnum P.I., the 2018 reboot, offered only temporary relief, as local newspapers like the Honolulu Star-Advertiser repeatedly framed his career through the lens of family legacy rather than personal merit. Through all of it, he held on to the quiet dignity that made Duke Lukela beloved. By 2025, at 73 years old, Dennis is still alive and working in Hawaii-based productions, his presence now considered foundational to the island's modern screen culture. His estimated net worth of $2.5 million reflects decades of steady roles, guest appearances, and his long-term commitment to local entertainment. Terry O'Quinn as Commander Joe White. Terry O'Quinn played Commander Joe White, the ruthless, enigmatic mentor who shaped McGarrett's entire past in Hawaii Five-0, 2010, when he was 58 years old. He joined the series in 2010, appearing in key episodes that added danger and depth to the storyline. His presence was sharp, chilling, unforgettable. And as the role grew, so did the contrast between the man he played and the man he was. Born July 15, 1952 in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, Terry O'Quinn carried into adulthood a lifetime of emotional restraint that sometimes bled into his characters. His divorce in 1993, after more than a decade of marriage, cost him nearly everything emotionally and financially, forcing him into a relentless work cycle just to stay afloat. Roles in Heaven's Gate, 1980, and Silver Bullet, 1985, kept him visible, but the industry rarely let him escape the haunted authority figures he so effortlessly portrayed. Even after winning the 2007 Emmy Award for Outstanding Supporting Actor for Lost, he privately admitted to friends that fame felt like applause landing on bruises. His body paid the price for the intensity he brought to every role. Years of stunts, night shoots, and physically demanding characters left him with chronic joint pain he vaguely referenced in interviews, describing it as the reminder of every fall a director ever loved. His work on The Stepfather, 1987, praised by Roger Ebert for its chilling depth, followed him for decades, reinforcing the pigeonhole he struggled to escape. Yet despite exhaustion, he continued saying yes. By 2025, at 73 years old, Terry remains alive, working steadily in dramas and thrillers where his presence still carries a gravity few actors can match. His net worth of roughly $8 million comes not only from Lost syndication, but also from consistent work on series like Patriot and Pieces of Her. Now he divides his time between acting and creating cameo videos that raise thousands for the Virginia Beach SPCA. Chi McBride as Captain Lou Grover. Chi McBride played Captain Lou Grover, the seasoned SWAT commander whose humor and hard-won wisdom steadied the team, in Hawaii Five-0, 2010, when he was 52 years old. His presence became a vital emotional anchor for the ensemble, grounding chaos with a single look. And behind that commanding voice was a man who had already survived a lifetime of artistic reinvention. Born September 23, 1961 in Chicago, Illinois, Chi began far from Hollywood's spotlight, carrying the weight of abandoning a rising path in jazz to chase an uncertain future in acting. His early years were bruising. Bit roles, last-minute callbacks that went nowhere, and financial strains so severe he once considered giving up and returning to Atlanta's corporate world. His marriage to Yulisa Marquez endured these storms, but not without scars. Long shoots, missed family events, and nights of silent resentment over the sacrifices required. His eventual breakout in Boston Public and Pushing Daisies finally earned him recognition, including an NAACP Image Award nomination. The years of action-heavy roles took a toll. Cha quietly battled recurring back problems from physical scenes in films like Gone in 60 Seconds, 2000, and I, Robot, 2004, injuries he often pushed through to avoid halting production. His public persona remained cheerful, but insiders knew the toll of constantly being the reliable heavyweight. By 2025, at 64 years old, Chi is still alive and thriving, recently starring in Netflix's I Will Find You, reaffirming his enduring pull in crime dramas. His estimated net worth of $10 million, bolstered by late-season Hawaii Five-0 earnings of nearly $150,000 per episode, reflects decades of persistence rather than ease. Today, he splits time between work and family, protecting the marriage that survived fame's sharp edges and cherishing the quiet victories he spent a lifetime fighting for. Taylor Wily as Kamakona Tupuola. Taylor Wily played Kamakona Tupuola, the warm-hearted informant and beloved shrimp truck owner, in Hawaii Five-0, 2010, when he was 42 years old. He joined the reboot in 2010 and appeared in 171 episodes across 10 seasons. His presence brought an authenticity and tenderness to the show that no one else could replace. And behind that laughter lived a man who had already survived more battles than any scripted character ever would. Born June 14, 1968, in Honolulu, Hawaii, Taylor Tuli Wily carried a history carved into his body long before Hollywood knew his name. His marriage unraveled under the weight of financial collapse after his sports injuries, only stabilizing years later when he remarried Halona Siona Siufanua, with whom he had 2 children. The emotional pressure of shifting identities, from a sumo prodigy to a UFC competitor to a struggling actor, left scars that even he rarely spoke about. He admitted how loneliness shadowed him after his 1989 retirement from sumo, a fall triggered by the knee injury that abruptly ended what once seemed destined for greatness. Chronic knee damage followed him for the rest of his life, a constant reminder of every ring he ever stepped into. The infamous UFC 1 match in 1993, where several of his teeth were kicked out on live television, haunted him for years, physically blurring his vision and emotionally cementing the feeling that he had failed before an audience of millions. Yet he kept climbing. Forgetting Sarah Marshall, 2008, Magnum PI, and local fan awards proved that Hawaii embraced him not as a fighter, but as a gentle soul whose humor softened even the hardest days on set. Taylor Wily died on June 20, 2024, at 56 years old in Hurricane, Utah, from natural causes. His passing was announced through Island Life Live, leaving fans and colleagues shaken by the suddenness. He was laid to rest in a private ceremony surrounded by family, his estimated net worth of $1.5 million, reflecting a life built from recurring roles and hard-earned persistence. In every tribute, from Peter M. Lenkov to Andre Jackson, the same phrase appeared: "He was the sweetest soul we ever knew." And that, more than any championship, became his legacy. Grace Park as Kono Kalakaua. Grace Park played Kono Kalakaua, the sharp-eyed sniper whose loyalty anchored the early Five-0 team in Hawaii Five-0, 2010, when she was 36 years old. She appeared in 168 episodes before her sudden departure in 2017, a moment that shocked fans and marked one of the most controversial exits in modern network television. Grace Park, born March 14, 1974 in Los Angeles, built her career with quiet resilience long before Hollywood knew her power. Her marriage to real estate developer Phil Kim provided stability, but balancing motherhood with relentless shooting schedules left her spiritually drained. She later admitted that the pressure to represent as a Korean-Canadian actress created waves of burnout. Her earlier success in Battlestar Galactica, 2004 to 2009, which earned her a Gemini Award nomination, only amplified the sense that she had to fight harder than those around her. The breaking point came in 2017 during the now infamous salary dispute with CBS. Park and Dae Kim asked for pay equal to their white co-stars, only to be denied despite carrying the ensemble through action-heavy storylines for 7 seasons. The fallout fractured friendships and left Park feeling culturally exploited, an echo of earlier roles where her ethnicity had been treated as a prop rather than a narrative. Even after moving on to A Million Little Things, 2018 to 2023, she admitted that the emotional toll of the dispute stayed with her. By 2025, at 51 years old, Grace maintains a modest screen presence through conventions and selective roles while prioritizing life with her 2 children in Vancouver. Her estimated net worth of $6 million comes from years of steady television work rather than blockbuster salaries. Today, she moves quietly but confidently, choosing peace over visibility. Masi Oka, as Dr. Max Bergman. Masi Oka played Dr. Max Bergman, the eccentric, pop-culture-loving medical examiner whose quiet compassion steadied the team, in Hawaii 5-0, 2010, when he was 36 years old. Across 130 episodes, he turned a quirky role into the emotional backbone of the morgue, then left the series in 2017 with a farewell that felt like losing a friend. Masi Oka, born December 27, 1974 in Tokyo, built his identity between countries and expectations, navigating adulthood with the wounds of divorced parents and the loneliness of never knowing his father. His marriage to Megan Hindle, beginning in 2015, endured painful strain as filming pulled them across continents, and the emotional residue of Hero's sudden cancellation in 2010 left him fighting depression and the suffocating stereotype of being the funny Asian sidekick. His Saturn Award win in 2008 for Heroes stood as proof of his depth, yet Hollywood kept trying to shrink him into a caricature he never agreed to play. Career pressure tightened after Heroes collapsed. Oka found himself oscillating between acting and his first love, coding. His behind-the-scenes work at Industrial Light and Magic, including contributions to the Star Wars prequels, often kept him afloat when acting roles dried up. Even his later projects, such as Heroes Reborn, 2015, and multiple production credits, couldn't fully erase the sting of an industry that treated him as brilliant yet optional. That internal conflict shaped the gentleness he brought to Max Bergman. By 2025, at 50 years old, Masi Oka is an executive producer on Claymore and continues performing while developing new tech-based storytelling platforms. His estimated net worth of $5 million reflects a career built on versatility rather than steady stardom. Today, he balances art and engineering with a calm earned the hard way, living proof that resilience can be both quiet and extraordinary. Jorge Garcia as Jerry Ortega. Jorge Garcia played Jerry Ortega, the conspiracy theory genius whose oversized heart softened even the toughest agents, in Hawaii 5-0, 2010, when he was 40 years old. His 130-episode run turned a comic guest role into a fan-favorite presence, a character shaped by tenderness, fear, and eccentric wit. And behind Jerry's laughter was an actor who spent years wrestling with the body he lived in. Jorge Fernando Garcia, born April 28, 1973 in Omaha, carried the emotional weight of public scrutiny long after Lost ended in 2010. Being typecast because of his size triggered cycles of depression, especially after his 2013 divorce following 6 years of marriage. His chemistry on Lost earned him a TCA Award nomination, but industry bias often reduced him to comic relief, even in projects like Alcatraz, 2012. Each role became a negotiation between who he was and who Hollywood wanted him to be. His dramatic 45-kilogram weight loss, achieved through vegan discipline, was less about appearance and more about survival, an attempt to claim autonomy in an industry that measured him before listening to him. The shift revitalized his confidence, and opened doors to roles like Bookie, 2023 to 2025, yet the years of self-doubt remained etched beneath his humor. His later partnership with actress Rebecca Birdsall, whom he married in 2019, gave him the emotional steadiness, especially as they welcomed their daughter into a quieter, more grounded life. By 2025, at 52 years old, Jorge continues acting, writing, and performing stand-up with renewed clarity. His estimated net worth of $5 million reflects decades of steady work and a small but loyal fan base that followed him beyond Lost. Ian Anthony Dale as Adam Noshimuri. Ian Anthony Dale played Adam Noshimuri, the former Yakuza prince who fought for redemption beside the Five-0 task force in Hawaii Five-0, 2010, when he was 33 years old. Over more than 100 episodes, he transformed a character born in violence into one defined by loyalty and quiet sorrow. And behind that controlled intensity was a man learning, often painfully, how to become himself. Ian Anthony Dale, born July 3, 1978 in St. Paul, Minnesota, carried the pressure of identity on his shoulders long before Hollywood noticed him. His marriage to designer Nicole Garripo, beginning in 2016, weathered early strain as their first child arrived while he was shuttling between sets on Salvation, Murder in the First, and Hawaii Five-0. The struggle over shared parenting responsibilities cut deeply, resurfacing old doubts that came from years of being stuck in minor roles that made him question whether he belonged in the industry at all. His breakthrough in The Event, 2010, finally proved his talent, though its cancellation after one season reopened insecurities he had spent years burying. Even success came with tension, working carpentry jobs in Los Angeles to survive, attending endless auditions, and watching two series, Surface and Daybreak, collapse before their second seasons. When Five-0 promoted him to main cast in Season 8, it felt like justice after a decade of false starts, though the responsibility pushed him to exhaustion. Directing an episode in the final season marked a turning point. By 2025, at 47 years old, Ian remains active with roles in The Resident, Rescue, H.I. Surf, and new directing projects. His estimated net worth of $6 million reflects a career built not on luck, but on relentless endurance. Today he lives quietly with Nicole and their two children, grateful that the battles that once threatened their marriage have become the foundation of a steadier, more truthful family life. Kimee Balmilero as Dr. Noelani Cunha. Kimee Balmilero played Dr. Noelani Cunha, the warm, meticulous medical examiner who carried Max Bergman's legacy forward, in Hawaii Five-0, 2010, when she was 37 years old. Over roughly 70 episodes, she became the emotional anchor of the morgue, a presence so gentle and steady that viewers often forgot how much weight her character carried. And off-screen, the journey was even heavier. Kimee Balmilero, born December 13, 1979 in Hawaii, lived through the harsh transition from touring actress to on-camera performer. Her marriage to John LeBlanc, beginning in 2017, stayed loving but strained as she balanced filming schedules with raising children, each goodbye at the airport becoming a reminder of what her success demanded. Before Five-0, she struggled financially after leaving nursing work to chase acting full-time, often scraping by while performing in Miss Saigon tours and later the Broadway cast of Mamma Mia. Even her appearance in Forgetting Sarah Marshall, 2008, didn't guarantee stability, and the years that followed were marked by doubt and near abandonment of the craft she loved. Her resilience became the foundation of Improv Hawaii, the comedy company she built from nothing after returning home in 2012. Running the Hawaii Comedy Festival and directing productions like The Last 5 Years gave her creative purpose, yet the emotional toll of splitting time between stage, screen, and motherhood. Each role in shows like Doogie Kamealoha, MD, or Hallmark's Two Tickets to Paradise carried echoes of the sacrifices behind them. By 2025, at 46 years old, Kimee balances theater, television, and community work while continuing to lead Improv Hawaii. Her estimated net worth of $2 million comes from years of steady but hard-earned projects. Today, she performs with gratitude, knowing she survived the years when her dream felt too expensive. From heartbreak to resilience, their real lives changed in ways no script could ever predict. Whose transformation surprised you the most? Hit subscribe and join us as we reveal the hidden stories behind your favorite stars.